Hello, I'm Morgan Carpenter. I'm a co-executive director of Intersex Human Rights Australia, an intersex-led charity that promotes the human rights and health of people with innate variations of sex characteristics. I'm also a graduate of the bioethics program at the University of Sydney in Australia, and I've engaged in project work for the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and the World Health Organization. So, intersex people have innate sex characteristics that differ from medical and social norms for female or male bodies. And medically, intersex traits are currently termed disorders or differences of sex development, referring to congenital traits with atypical development of chromosomal, gonadal, or anatomical sex characteristics. So intersex traits can be diagnosed or determined prenatally, at birth, during puberty, and at other times, such as when trying to conceive a child. We're a very diverse population with many different diagnoses and experiences, and as many different identities as the rest of the population. What intersex people share in common with each other is a risk or experiences of stigma and harm because our bodies are seen as different. We know that people with intersex variations use a variety of different language to describe our bodies and their characteristics, and these choices are influenced by the words we are taught by parents and clinicians, and also by our experiences of stigma and misconceptions. We know, for example, that public misconceptions and the desire to ease access to appropriate medical treatment can each drive people to use medicalized language that they might not otherwise prefer. We know that public misconceptions also include ideas that intersex people have both female and male organs, or a third sex. These misconceptions do not respect our diversity as a population. The idea that intersex people are a third sex specifically disregards many people's legal and social status, whether that is lifelong or, in other cases, hard-won. And medicine also shares misconceptions. Clinical groups have themselves framed, and I quote, DSD women as somehow illustrative of gender fluidity, or even a third sex, perhaps until we undergo medical intervention to make our bodies fit a normative idea of what it means to be female or male. And ideas of normality are also widespread in medicine, such as the idea that surgery or hormonal treatments are necessary to help children grow up to be normal, whatever this means. And this seems to me becoming understood to be cisgender and heterosexual. These ideas of normality are grounded in gender stereotypes. Experiences of medical intervention can in some cases lead to a lifetime of repeated surgeries, and it can often lead to scarring, trauma, and an ongoing need for hormonal treatment. Repeated examinations and treatments such as dilation can themselves construct feelings of difference and trauma. These mean that people can grow up feeling that our bodies are not our own, but somebody else's idea of who we should be. There's also an idea that medical treatment can prevent stigmatization, but the rationales for so-called normalizing interventions show them to be examples of stigmatization, reflecting an idea that intersex people have to adjust to society rather than society accept our difference. Early general anesthetic is associated with developmental delays at school, and it can impact sexual function and sensation. Surgery can impact sexual function and sensation. Often, clinical research is conducted on small samples in studies by clinicians of their own patients. Their patients may lack age and agency to freely contribute their thoughts, and many patients will be lost to follow-up. Researchers often focus on their own preconceptions about what needs to be studied, rather than the preferences of the population they're studying. And often this can mean that research is designed to justify early surgery and hormonal treatment. This research then is subject to ascertainment bias and confirmation bias. These practices do not respect the human rights of intersex people. They fail to respect our rights to bodily integrity and autonomy, and our right to privacy and to health. They can lock us in to long-term health needs and complications. They make suppositions about who we are supposed to be, and they have been condemned by many human rights institutions as a result. So, what do intersex people need from doctors? We need clinicians to distinguish medical interventions based on gender stereotypes and social norms from medical treatment necessary to address actual, urgent physical health concerns. We need attention to prior experiences of trauma, which may make us reluctant to seek medical treatment, to avoid it, and sometimes be faced with more urgent health issues as a result. And we need affirmative access to peers. And you're here because you're connected to ABRAI, and that's fantastic. But your peers also need to make those connections. So I hope you might feel that you can support ABRAI and intersex-led advocacy to reform medical practices to ensure that the human rights of people with intersex variations are respected, and think about how you can collaborate more and more effectively. So thanks so much to ABRAI for the invitation to speak today, and thank you for listening and participating in this event.